I'm curious if there's any like parts of the book, passages, themes, etc., that felt like that elicited the most either like reaction or feedback, or like things that people really wanted to talk about, or like that hit them the hardest.
Well, what I did on my tour was like I played theaters of about like 1,100 people, and I had in each city up a harpist that I met through Twitter, and like
Cool.
they would play as I would read the pieces, so we would have like
Oh
this like
wow.
weird kind of funny fancy evening. And the last piece I used to read um is the piece called Blue Hour, which is one of the final pieces in the book, and it's really about kind of getting your shit together. That's what that piece
Mm-hmm.
is about. And it's about my own process of understanding that really factually there's no time where you're waiting to be alive, that like you always are. And
Mm-hmm.
that includes the really, really hard times when you're alone. So like what can you find there? And people did seem to want to talk about that. And they seem to want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about how one might, like I always, every show, every reading got questions about like dealing with anxiety um, and dealing with self-doubt. And and I never really like knew how to answer those questions, to be honest. Like I know how to answer them for me, but it was really, really nice to talk to people about it. And like to just see how many people are truly asking themselves the same question. And I'm asking it too, which is just like,
Mm-hmm.
how do I find peace? Like, how do I exist so that this thing that does continually visit me is not just like a really numbing repetition of feeling bad? The weirdest question that Ben, that my fiance and I always talk about is like, people would ask, like, how do you find the courage to be vulnerable? I understand the question, but
Mm-hmm.
my answer was always like, I don't think I'm any more or less vulnerable than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I've decided that it feels better to let it out rather than keep it in.